Burr, burrs, bushes with burrs. What is this all about? This is part of the wisdom. King David writes, everything Hashem you created with wisdom. Many levels of meaning to that. One is every creature has its own innate wisdom that other creatures don't have. Now, a problem that you'll face if any of you decide to become trees in your next incarnation, you're going to have a problem because people can go from place to place. Animals and birds can go from place to place. Fish can go from place to place. Salmon hatch out in the mountain lakes, ponds, and they swim downstream to the ocean. They swim in the ocean for a few years, and then they swim all the way back up the waterfalls to the original pond that they came from. They go back. Trees can't go anywhere except in the Ring Saga. If any of you read Tolkien, where the trees actually move around. The trees can't move. So what's going to happen to a tree? A tree reproduces with the story of the birds and the bees and pollination and so on. So trees reproduce and make more seeds. From new seeds come little trees, saplings, and saplings grow to big trees. And this is a big symbol in Judaism. We even have a New Year, special New Year for trees, which we talk about and celebrate it. And we study the symbolism of every aspect of a tree's life. But if the seeds created by a tree just fall in the same place, what's going to happen? There's not going to be any room for the trees to grow. They're not going to flourish. So therefore, Hashem puts into the trees a wisdom, which we call the wisdom of dispersal of seed. And if you study this, you'll see how amazing it is, how every tree and bush is created with its own system of spreading its seeds all over the place. What do we say in Hebrew? Ufaratzta. Hashem says, I'm going to scatter you and spread you out to the north and to the east, to the south and to the west. And whatever you see, he says to Avram, it's going to be yours and for your children's forever. Well, trees can't go claim that land. Like the explorers we spoke about last week. So trees send their seeds out like this. It falls and rolls and scatters. And then the elements arrange that it decays enough so it opens up. And there's this seed. And the industrious squirrels are planning already for the winter, which teaches us that we also have to plan for the winter. Check your heating systems. Make sure you have sweaters and long johns, warm jackets and headwear to keep you warm, mittens, gloves, boots. You have to prepare like the squirrels, right? And the squirrels, they're busy. Yeah, the squirrels, and notice they're always moving, always moving. What would you call a squirrel? If I had a squirrel, I'd call them scamper. They're always scampering around. And they take these nuts, and squirrels love nuts. They're crazy about nuts. One time we had a problem, we had a pest around the house, a squirrel, and we didn't know what to do about it. We heard that there's such things called squirrel traps to get rid of them. How do you get the squirrel to go into the trap? You put in the trap some peanut butter. Squirrels go crazy for peanut butter because it's from nuts. They love nuts. Why do squirrels love nuts? Ducks don't love nuts. Why? This is a very profound question. You think it's silly. It's not silly. It's tremendously profound because we just said Hashem, you created everything with wisdom. It's not for nothing. The trees make nuts and all kinds of other things. Some trees make propellers, that the seeds are in the propellers and they go on the wind till they find their resting place, and then they decay, they open up and the seed enters. And the chances are very slim that the seed will enter. So therefore the tree, every single tree produces tens of thousands of seeds with propellers in the chance that one or two or three might make it to the earth, and the earth will accept them, and the rain will fall and the sun will shine, and you'll get trees, you'll get forests, and the forests are going to provide us with oxygen to breathe for the whole world. Thank you, Hashem. Oi. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam v'shalom.
These also need water, so.
Here you go.
There we go. Thank you. This
I'm
is
waiting for the other, she's gonna bring.
This is the
thicker one.
oh, we need more than that.
It's mini.
Yeah. Okay.
It's mini.
I'm sorry.
See?
I'll try not to do it again.
I think it's mini.
Robbie, I'll go catch you a squirrel. One time I caught a pigeon.
Really? Wow. That's so
So we see that the overall plan, there's this wisdom in the overall plan. Who could think of all these details? Well, people who study botany and biology, they spend their whole life studying Hashem's wisdom in nature. The plan for Hashem. Well, what are birds? Birds grow on, they're like this, is similar to this. They grow on a certain kind of bush, and they contain the seeds of this bush. And when an animal walks by, or when you go walking in the woods, you come out of the woods with these burrs all over you, clinging to your clothes. Well, oh, thank you. Clinging to your clothes, and you're going to brush them off. So that's how
Thank you.
the seeds get dispersed all over the place from animals and from people who go for walks in the woods. And then they clean themselves off, and the seeds enter and the species continues to live and to thrive. It's all part of Hashem's wisdom. There's only one creature that I know of that is not created with wisdom. Every other creature is born with all the wisdom that it needs to know, except for people. People, the only thing that people know when they're born is how to nurse,
But sometimes they don't.
which is pretty important. What do you have?
Yeah, we were talking, we were slapped by the.
The rest we have to figure out. So in order to figure this out, Hashem creates us with a different kind of wisdom than all the other creatures. He creates us with the wisdom to think. And even though we talk about the clever fox, tricky fox, well, its wisdom is enough that it can avoid the farmer, because the fox wants to eat the chicken that's in the chicken coop, and the farmer wants to keep the fox out of the chicken coop. So they're always fighting with each other. And the fox is very clever in trying to avoid the farmer. So in English, they have fox hunts. People enjoy this sport. You may think it's cruel. It is. They have bloodhounds, dogs, set out after this poor little fox. One fox against all these hounds. No matter where it goes, the hounds find him. That's their wisdom. And the people ride on horses, and they jump over, they ride through the farms and jump over the fences until they trap this hapless fox who is trying to fool them. And the fox fools them by climbing a tree and turning around and going back and going through water and trying to confuse the hounds. And sometimes the fox wins and sometimes the people win. More often the people win because the people have wisdom that the fox is even greater than the wisdom of the fox. But the fox is very, very tricky. But that doesn't make the fox wise. Even in the parables, the Greek parables, or even in the Medrash, the fox is often used as a symbol of the creature that's very clever and that thinks, but the fox doesn't really, it only thinks in order to survive. And all the wisdom of all the creatures is programmed into the creature for its survival. And that goes to plants and animals and fish and birds and everything except people who are just stupid.
Amen.
But we have the power to think. And this power is so great. It's great that we can work out everything. Look at the advances in human. Well, you can't appreciate because you're all young. But when I was a child, I would lie on the grass and look up and I would see airplanes flying. And if a jet flew by, that was amazing. Jets had only been discovered in the Second World War. Before that, everybody flew in propeller planes. And before that, another 50 years ago, they didn't fly at all. They didn't know that Amelia Earhart didn't just make luggage. She was a pilot. She flew across the ocean. She was the first lady to fly across the ocean. Before that, people didn't fly. For thousands of years, they've been trying to figure out how to fly. And now you look up every 30 seconds over my house. Every 30 seconds, every day, there's another plane going to JFK. Amazing. It's really amazing. The power of the human brain to figure things out. I don't know how they figured it out, but they did. They studied engineering and aerodynamics and fuel and everything you have to know. Hi. This is the amazing world we live in, Hashem's world, and it's all there for us, like a feast on a table, in order that we should come and eat and perceive the wisdom of Hashem and serve him. Now, the trouble with this whole system is that as people work things out, they could feel there's a little voice inside that says, oh, you're so smart, you worked this out by yourself. And to think that everything is here for you, and that's true, it is here for us. Everything is here for us. But it's in order that we should do what Hashem wants from us, which is to be kind and to be gracious and to help other people. And not just to think about us, but to think about how we can help others, how we, principle number one, can help the world. Number two, to connect with Hashem, right? Remember our first lesson. Remember three things and you'll never come to sin. You have to remember that the whole time. Okay, there you are. When you go out, you'll find them just lying there waiting for you to walk on them and press them into the earth so they should decay and create new trees. Okay, so we were learning last day what happens to these nuts. Maybe 50% of them or more get lost. The squirrel is busy looking for nuts the whole of its life, so that we'll have food in the wintertime when the nuts aren't available. But squirrels don't have a good memory. They're not blessed with it. If they had a good memory, there'd be no more trees. They forget where they hid their nuts. They hide them in many places. My grandfather, Oliver Sholem, in his later years, I saw that he had many bank accounts. He wasn't a wealthy man, but he had a few dollars here and a few dollars there and a few dollars. So many bank accounts. Well, the squirrels also, they have so many places where they hide their nuts and they forget them. And what happens to nuts that are forgotten? They decay and some of them make it into trees. That's all part of the general picture. And David HaMelech understood all of that. And he said, we said every day in our davening, weekdays and Shabbos, Kulam asisa b'chachma. Hashem, you created all of them with wisdom. It's just there in front of our eyes. How can we not be astonished when you see something like this? Could you make something like this? It would take you weeks to put together something like this, even to figure out. Just take a look, pass it around, take a look at it. It doesn't break. It's made not, it's unbreakable. It's made not to break until after it falls. Then it lets the seed out. And look at this seed. Look at how perfect it's made. I used to be a tour guide. I still am. Yeah, I used to be guide people and teach them about architecture. And now I teach them about the wisdom of the Torah. At least I try. So there was a famous architect in Florence who, artists in those days used to make a living by selling their wisdom to the prince. And they would design all the things. They would design elements of warfare and buildings. And of course, that's how they earned their living. So they wanted to build a very grand building in the city of Florence in Italy. And they couldn't figure out how to finish the top of the building. They wanted something more special than any other building that had been built yet to that point. So he came, I think his name was Brunelleschi, and he came in and he said, I can build this building for you. I can finish this building for you in a way that was never, ever done anywhere else. This will be the most extraordinary, beautiful building in the whole world at that time. And they said, well, let's see how you're going to do it. Show us how you're going to do it. He says, I'm not going to show you how I'll do it. I'm not stupid. Everything was created with wisdom, including me. If I show you how to build this dome for the building, you'll do it yourself. And I'll be a poor man. They said, well, why should we how do we know you could do it? You're asking us for a lot of money, millions and billions of dollars to finance building this wonderful dome. How do we know you can do it? He says, because I'm telling you that I can do it. I can show you a design of what it'll look like, and you will never know how to put it up. They said, well, how do we know you'll know how to put it up? He says, you know what? We'll do a contest. Let's see. Who can make this nut stand on its end and not fall over? If you make it stand on its point and not fall over, well, actually, they did it with an egg. Can you make this? If you can make this egg stand up and not fall over, then I'll show you how to build the building. So they tried and tried and tried to balance the egg till it would stand on its end, and they couldn't do it. So finally, they said, okay, how would you do it? He said, well, it's really very simple. He just took the egg, went smash, and the egg stood on its end. He said, well, we could have done that. He says, yeah, but you didn't think of it. And you could build the dome too, but you didn't think of it. So they gave him the job. Okay, so much for that. We learned there are 4 elements in everything, in all of us, and they are fire and water, yum, and air, yakety, 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 yak, and earth, I'm so tired. These are from the animal soul. Right? The four elements work as your animal soul, or combinations and permutations of all of them. And this is the basis of what we call the medical science of the Middle Ages, of the ages. Like that girl learning in the mountains was learning all about it in the mountains of Tibet, who found her way to the Chabad house. And this is what they call the alchemists, the early pharmacists. And they would concoct medicines that would encourage these elements if they were lacking in a person's character and his makeup in order that they should be well. Now, we talked until now about the animal soul, but remember yesterday, Malcolm Butler remembered, this is
Oh, a spider doing push-ups on me?
spiders, right? A spider, one spider doing push-ups on a mirror.
Or like his legs cut off?
It's fine, everything's fine.
Okay, and this illustrates the principle in the Torah that zeh li'uma zeh as Elokim. Everything Hashem made with an opposite and equal counterpart. So therefore, from the side of goodness, we can learn the opposite, and from the side of bad things, we can learn good things. Reb Zusha of Anipol, who wrote the introduction to the Tanya, said that he learned 7 things. We could learn 7 things from a thief and how to serve God. How can you learn from a thief how to serve God? I always forget what the 7 are. Some are very obvious. One is you have to be quick. You can't be lazy. You have to be very industrious. 2, you have to pay attention to every detail. Every little detail is important in aerodynamics and in kashrut and in the service of God in the Holy Temple and in Torah knowledge. You have to be brave. To serve God, you have to have courage to stand up for your principles. And not afraid to take a risk. Can't be a thief if you're afraid to, if you're timid. You have to plan what you're going to do. You can't just act randomly. You have to make sure that nobody knows what you're doing. Modesty in the service of God is very important. It's called Hatzna Lechet, that you serve God anonymously without anybody knowing about it. You don't draw attention to yourself. A thief who draws attention to himself will end up in jail. You don't talk about it. You don't talk about your good deeds. Talk about other people's good deeds. Encourage them. Don't brag about yourself, how special you are. Thief is very low key. And the 7th thing is that if at first you don't succeed, you don't give up. Try again. And there's an 8th lesson that we learned from a thief, which is that crime doesn't pay. Right? So that's the spider on the mirror. We learn good things from bad. So what do we learn on the good side from these 4 elements? I think we discussed some of them, right? What would be the element of fire in your godly soul? How do you serve God with warmth and fire? Huh? Passion, yeah.
Like enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm, that's better word for it. With enthusiasm, with warmth. Your davening should be warm, enthusiastic. You're learning. should not be cold. Like we said about Jews from Ukraine, they're warm. Yeah, it's a pity on people, the intellectuals from Lithuania. It's part of my background. What can you do? It's not my fault. But there was another side. My grandmother came from Lithuania, but she married a man from Galicia, which is on the border of Ukraine and Poland, and they're warm-blooded. Anyway, so that's warmth. What about water? The element of water in the godly soul. Water is the source of all pleasure. Water makes all things grow. So water in the godly soul is going to affect you, that you're going to have a lot of pleasure. You're going to enjoy learning. You're going to enjoy davening. It's not going to be onerous. It's not going to be a burden to you. Person once said he doesn't like learning. It's can't do it. The Rebbe said to him, let me give you an example. There was a man walking up a very steep hill. It was a boiling hot day, and he had a heavy sack on his back. And someone came along and said, what do you got in that sack? He says, stones. I have to carry these stones up the hill. His name was Sisyphus. They called him Sis for short. He said, what do you got in that bag? He said, stones. He said, can I give you another stone? Get out of my egg. Don't bother me. You cruel, making fun of me. Same scenario. Someone's walking up the same steep hill, same hot day, same heavy sack on his back. Comes the joker and says, what do you got on that back? He says, diamonds. Diamonds? Would you like another one? He said, yes. If you're giving it away, I'll take it. That's how you have to look at Torah and mitzvahs. Mazel tov for Rabbi Majeski last night. He made it. His son became engaged. I was so tired. It was 10 o'clock at night, 10:15 at night. I was ready to I was summoning up all my energy to finish the shiurim that I had to do and say Kriya Shema with a little bit of concentration and go to sleep and be able to get up this morning. And my son comes home and says, Rabbi Majeski is making a l'chaim. I said, oh, I have no strength. My wife said, goodbye. She's tough. She said, goodbye. So I had to go, oh, Hashem, I'm glad I went. It was very nice. But once I got going, it was good. That's water, and the godly soul enables you to enjoy what you're doing. And it's a great gift to enjoy learning and to enjoy helping another person. Most people that come over to you, can you give me some little time of your little time a day today? Oh, I'm busy. Or the people come over to you, they start talking to you in Hebrew, and they want what they want some money. So what's your response? Well, water in the godly soul is, I'll be happy to help you out. Always happy to do another mitzvah. Always happy to learn a little bit more Torah. Always happy to come. By the way, I'm very, very pleased to see you're all here on time this morning. You're a great class. And then we have air, the element of air. Air is connected with your speech. So what's air in the godly soul? What's air in the animal soul? Air in the animal soul is empty words, silly words, obnoxious words, behaving disrespectfully to others. chutzpah, showing off, gossip and slander. What's the opposite? Torah, learning Torah, saying lots of words of Torah. Saying Tilim, davening, saying words to encourage people in doing good things, teaching people how to earn a living, teaching people good manners, teaching people how to behave civilized. This is the element of air in the godly soul. That's how it works. And what about the earth? So they ask a question about the giving of the Torah in Mount Sinai. Why was the Torah given in the desert of Sinai? Why was it given in desert? The desert is a place where anyone could go. If the Torah had been given in Crown Heights or in Lakewood or Gateshead or Thornhill, then the people in these places would say, the Torah was given to us. You want to learn Torah, you have to come and be one of us. We are the possessors of the Torah. If the Torah was given in Yerushalayim, if you're not a Yerushalmi, forget it. You have no connection with Torah. You're an outsider. So therefore, Hashem gave the Torah in the desert. It doesn't belong to anybody. Because everybody can go into the desert. And that's the point, that everybody can, the Torah is there for everybody to go and get it. In the same way, everybody can go into the desert, so everybody can walk wherever they want in the desert. The desert doesn't reject anybody. It may wear them out, but it doesn't reject them. So similarly, in our character, the element of earth, which is depression and unhappiness in the animal soul, is, I think somebody did say this last day, in the godly soul, the element of earth is the opposite of pride, which is humility. If pride comes from fire, which goes up, so earth is the opposite. It makes itself low. Everybody can walk over the earth. But there's a Hasidic saying, yes, you have to be humble and low, but you don't have to be a doormat. You don't have to let people step all over you. Just don't take it personally. Don't get upset. And don't let people take advantage. So these are the four elements that make up everything, how they act through our animal soul, how they act through our godly soul. So this answers the question, well, a person might feel if he has certain problems in his character that he's no good or he's hopeless, and it's not true. It just means that he has an overdose of the animal soul, which he has to set this off. He has to offset it by the developing the godly soul. So if a person is like hot-tempered and has a short fuse, how is he going to get to control his temper? Well, since the element of fire is connected with the temper, so he has to learn Torah and do mitzvahs with a lot of fire, a lot of passion and warmth and enthusiasm, and that will help him not to be angry at anybody. He'll be want to be helpful. And if he's a Baal Taiva, that is to say, he loves pleasure and he's always indulging in pleasure, so he has to make helping people his pleasure. And then he won't be so interested in pizza and ice cream. And the Viennese table. And if a person is depressed and unhappy, it's very often because he feels that people don't like him. He's not successful with people. So let him work on the element of earth in his godly soul with humility, and he will see. The person has this element of earth in the godly soul, he can appreciate the quality of others. Like Moshe Rabbeinu had this. Moshe Rabbeinu, it says, was the most humble person in the whole world. That means he had a lot of earthiness in his godly soul. What made him, what did this cause him? He looked on every single person as better than himself. How can he be better than himself? He was Moshe Rabbeinu. Well, he knew that he was better than others. He knew he was smarter and holier and all that. But he thought, yeah, but I come from such a special family. I was, born with the potential to be what I am. If other people had been born with my potentials, they'd be even greater. So therefore, instead of being unhappy and depressed, you could always see the good in other people. And that's the element of earthiness in your godly soul. L'chaim. Have a good day. If you think we're not moving along in the Tanya, you're right. We're hardly covered any lines at all. Rabbi Majeski gets very upset because we don't cover the pages. There's a big debate in education. What counts more? How many pages of Talmud you learn or how well you understand? We're actually covering a lot of ideas that are all in the Tanya. But we're not turning the pages. Look at this.
Wow. Brand new. Water. Enjoy learning.
Sharonel.